held over all stocks. Right now, GE is down back to the $15 per share level. We bring up GE because its chief, Jeff Immelt, is pushing hard for climate change legislation. He's also a member of President Obama's Economic Advisory Board. Tom Borelli at the National Center for Public Policy Research joins the company. All right, Tom, in what way is Jeff Immelt using his political influence to get financial rewards via climate control for GE?
Well, it's quite simple. He wants cap-and-trade legislation that would mandate basically the purchase of wind turbines, which is part of his renewable energy business.
But he's not going to get cap-and-trade.
He may not get cap-and-trade. But overall, General Electric has gone all in on climate change. Worldwide, they hope to get $192 billion from government funds. They were able to...
Wait. I've got to hear that statistic again. 192
world over the next 3 years of worldwide from government funds supporting renewable energy.
Which government?
Worldwide governments.
All governments.
All governments.
Pony up 192 billion in a 3-year period, going to big companies like GE.
GE's renewable energy business. But the problem here is he's gone all in, and there's huge political risk because even the Democrats now are going against climate change. There are even Democrats now who are backed a bill that would stop the EPA from regulating carbon emissions.
You've just launched another major attack on Jeffrey Immelt, has he not, Charles?
Well, you have, but Tom, this is what I find interesting. I see a lot of foreign companies setting up shop here, particularly in Arkansas, where they've gotten a lot of breaks. Are we going to favor, in other words, will there be legislation to favor GE over, let's say, a Siemens or a Chinese manufacturer? Or is this up for grabs for everybody?
Well, it's up for Siemens is also lobbying for cap and trade. But now there's a small band of CEOs who are doing this because they need government funds to keep going. Immelt got his customers in the utility business stimulus money for the renewable electric grid. But again, there's huge political risk because the Democrats now want to kill cap and trade. The Democrats now want to stop the EPA from regulating CO2.
But what about the shareholder risk?
Well,
the stock is down 5%.
Look at this.
Over the last 5 years, it's down 57%, and now he's like betting the ranch on this.
Not only betting the ranch, but he made a quote, "We're all Democrats now." Well, let's say the Republicans take over. You think they're going to have a memory? And that risk isn't being calculated. No one's really talking about the huge political risk. At the same time, every day the wheels are falling off the global warming science bandwagon.
Look at that chart. That is a chart since Jeffrey Immelt took over at General Electric, and it's gone really, not exactly straight down, but that is a lousy chart.
And in Paulson's book, there's claims that he might have misled his shareholders.
In Paulson's book?
Yes.
Which I just bought?
Yep.
He misled his shareholders?
At the same time when Jeffrey Immelt was telling his shareholders, don't worry, we have the commercial credit online, don't worry about a commercial paper, he was calling Paulson and saying, I'm having trouble getting funds overnight.
Now, we just showed you a chart of that stock coming down. In part, the reason for that stock coming down so much was that GE Capital is a major financial company. It was the engine of profitability for GE, and it took a hit like everybody else in the Great Panic at the end of '08. I mean, so you can't lay the blame for that on Jeff Immelt.
Why not? He was CEO at the time. He was CEO. Listen, he got the... When Jack Welch came to GE, it had a market cap of $14 billion. When he left, it had a market cap of $410 billion. He gave him the most incredible company on the planet to run, and it's gone straight down since.
And you can blame him, Stuart, because he took risks while he was CEO, and now you blame him yet again for risking the shareholders' money on this.
And the other part of this thing, too, remember, if they do cap and trade, do CO2 emissions, energy prices are going to skyrocket, more job losses, and slower economic growth. How can that benefit General Electric? Maybe in the short term with a few up bump, but over the long term. Major companies are moving jobs overseas. When you're talking about Jeff Immelt, we'll have to think about Atlas Shrugged. Think of James Taggart, the villain in Atlas Shrugged, the individual who married the government and then helped defeat entire capitalism. And that's what we're seeing with Jeffrey Immelt.
All right, moving on. Tom Borelli, a pleasure, and thanks very much for joining us. Speaking of GE, NBC kicks